Hello and welcome to the British Dyslexia Association's webinar broadcast about the International Conference 2018. We're incredibly excited about our approaching conference, and it gives me great pleasure to share with you this morning that I've got on the broadcast with me Professor Susan Gathercole, OBE, who's our IC 2018 chair, and also previous chair, Professor Julia Carroll. She was chair in IC 2014, and she's also our executive chair this time around as well. So a big hello to Julia and Sue. And what we're going to have a chat about today really is about what the IC means to those individuals, and also about what's so special about IC 2018. The theme of which is evidence to practice and back again. And we will be in Telford International Centre this time around with dates of 12th to 14th of April. So if we get started then, I'm just going to flip back to Sue's image. Sue, a big welcome to you and thanks for sharing your time with us today. I think it makes it even more real when we have people like yourself on a broadcast like this to talk about the IC. So if we start with you, I wondered if you'd like to talk about what the IC, what the International Conference means to you, and any memories over the years that you would like to share. I know in IC 2016 you're one of our keynote speakers, and now of course you're the chair of the IC. So what does the International Conference mean to you really?
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me to take part in this webinar. It means quite a lot, actually. It's the British Dyslexia Association has loomed very large as a significant guide and resource for all sorts of information for me over the years. I've been working with kids who are struggling to learn, which is really my main field of research. I've been working there for about 30 years. I've spoken to various British Dyslexia Association groups and meetings many times over the years, but I was really delighted to be invited as the keynote speaker at the Oxford meeting in 2016. So I arrived with high expectations, and I have to say they were more than met. So what was so impressive for me was just the fact that the conference program was so broad. So I had really excellent academic speakers, people who I really wanted to listen to and hadn't had the opportunity so far. And then there were other groups. There were representatives of professional groups, people with their own personal interests, but all with a strong focus on trying to do something that made a difference for individuals who were struggling in some respects, in some cases overcoming difficulties with literacy. So it was a really great environment. And my abiding memory of just that one conference I've been to so far, the Oxford meeting, was just of this huge bustling throng of delegates, and the most amazing noise that they generated as they spoke with anyone next to them in the queues, and for the food, for chatting before the lecture started, after the lectures ended. And it was just a really strong, engaged set of delegates. And as a speaker, it's a fantastic type of audience to encounter as well. I was also really impressed by the fact that there were plenty of early career researchers who were speaking for the first time to practitioners as well as to academics. And it's really that interchange between the academic and the practical that interests me most. And I think the BDA sort of really hits the button on that particular one.
Thanks, Sue. And I think myself as well, you're spot on about the people that we attract and the great atmosphere there. It's a real buzzing event really in that way. Julia, what about you then? Memories? I know that you've been on the journey for quite a long time with us during the IC. So what would you like to share, or any feelings about the IC? What does it mean to you?
Similar to Sue in lots of ways, but as you say, yeah, I have been working with the IC in some capacity or another for many years now. So I was a conference steward when I was still a PhD student. I've been on the committee, I think this will be my 4th conference where I've been on the committee, and I was a chair in 2014, which was a great experience. So it's really been a kind of a touchstone really in my professional life. And as Sue says, the mix between the academics and the practitioners is really stimulating. I think some of my memories, when I was thinking back about it, some of my memories are really about some of the controversial issues that have come up in different past sessions and the debates that we've had about them, and hearing the viewpoints from people who are well, different viewpoints. So people who are working in the research, people who are working with dyslexic students and adults every day, and dyslexic individuals themselves. So some of my really kind of striking memories from an academic viewpoint are where we've had a chance to hear the views of particularly successful dyslexics who've managed to work with their difficulties. And that's really been inspiring from my point of view, I think.
Brilliant, thanks, Julia. And I think you're right as well. It's very inspirational. You do come away full of ideas and the energy of the place. Certainly a lot of the feedback we get post-conference from our delegates about looking forward to the next conference, which brings us on then to 2018. And I've just put up now the keynotes that we've got in April 2018, and I wondered, Sue, if you'd mind sharing with us about why you think IC 2018 is going to be a special one, and why people should attend, really. So what's going to be so great about IC 2018 based on some of the history that we spoke about with previous events?
Of course. Well, we sat back, the conference committee, and thought, what's the best set of issues? What are the areas in which we'd all like to come away fully informed? And we worked backwards from that. And we started off with a byline, which is the theme of the conference, which is evidence to practice and back again. And we really wanted to make sure that we touch in various different ways on exactly the practical experience of dyslexia and related struggles, how that interfaces with evidence, with research, and then to bring that back again to practice. And we hope that we're going to be able to do that in many different ways at this particular meeting. So one of the things that we know from feedback from previous meetings from delegates is that people really love to hear about the latest cutting edge science in the field. So one of the things that we knew was that we wanted to get some really fantastic international speakers who'd be able to come and tell us all that we needed to know about what was happening in their labs now. And we've chosen speakers that are incredibly influential in their field, and also that we know are really great speakers. This is very critical. And if you have a look at the slide, then we'll see that we have Daniel Ansari, for example, who's a world leader in understanding mathematical learning, mathematical development. And he looks at all aspects of it. He looks at behavior, he looks at, in particular, the brain mechanisms. And he's really interested in looking at maths, not just from the perspective of knowing how adults do maths, but actually looking at how the child's developing brain can shape and be shaped by learning mathematical skills. So he's a great speaker, and we were really delighted when he responded so positively to our invitation. Simon Fisher is another great influence in the field. So he's at the Max Planck Institute in Nijmegen, and he's just a world leader really in understanding the sorts of genetic causes for particular problems, particularly in language development. And he's going to bring with him, I think, all the latest methods and advances that his very large lab group are making at the moment. John Gabrielli's another neuroscientist who's got a fantastic understanding of how kids learn to read, what the problems are that might underpin some of the struggles that they have. But one of the really interesting aspects to his research is that he's interested in figuring out how the brain responds to different interventions. And in particular, if we have different types of methods of educational support for struggling learners, first, can we match those to the needs of their brains, their particular configurations, but also what changes take place in the brain following successful interventions. So I think all of us will be excited about that, whether we're neuroscientists or not. We also wanted to bring in people who had really good sort of practical experience as well as theoretical experience, research experience of what to do and what the consequences, the everyday consequences are really of any struggles that learners may have. And I'd just like to pick out here particular Amanda Kirby, Professor Amanda Kirby, who's at Bangor University. And she does really important work trying to investigate what the impact of dyslexia is, for example, in employment, in the workplace, also in prisons too. So a really wide, broad-ranging perspective there on the practical aspects. And we think it's the engagement of people like Amanda in the programme that has encouraged submissions from all sorts of people who are also on the programme, who are looking at dyslexia and its consequences very practically. So we have sessions on the impact of dyslexia on medical trainees, on nurses, and also on teachers. So we're really excited to bring to combine not only the science, but also with the practical expertise. And hopefully have many of these people in the same room for these particular discussion points. Finally, I must bring to everyone's attention how excited we are about getting Professor Manuel Casanova in for this meeting. He's incredibly important actually within the field in pointing out that although dyslexics can have a tough time along the way, there are all sorts of advantages, and he's done some very influential work charting that. And we think the session that he's going to lead is going to be very inspiring to many of us.
Thank you, Sue. Julia, any thoughts about what makes IC 2018 so special? Anything that jumps out at you in terms of what we're offering on the programme?
Absolutely. It's actually been really, as Sue says, it's really exciting. Some of these speakers I have never seen speak before, but I've obviously know their reputation and know their work, and I'm really excited about seeing them. But I'm also really pleased that we've got a focus on the thinking positively about dyslexia and looking at some of the benefits that might come, and that also links with our expo and the session that we're planning to have to involve parents more. So we've always had a focus on linking up with practitioners and researchers, but I think maybe less of a focus on families. And now we're planning on the Saturday to have that session supporting families and letting them get involved in the project, in the conference as well, which I'm really looking forward to. And I know, again, some of the speakers we've really selected based on feedback and based on the things that are real issues at the moment. So Dr. Marketa Karavalos will be talking about dyslexia and reading development in different language systems. She's done a huge project, or she's led a huge project across Europe looking at dyslexia in different languages, and that will be really exciting to hear about her findings from that, I think. And obviously we're really, really pleased to have Professor Gathercole speaking again. So we know that she gave such an interesting talk last time. I'll be really, really interested to hear the updates. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to lots of different aspects of it.
Thank you, Julia. To summarise then what you said about the Parents' Day, it will run on the Saturday, and the last webinar broadcast we did, which was with scanning pens, I know Jack Churchill was talking about how excited they were as well at scanning pens about this idea that we're going to have a Parents' Day, a parents' session in the morning. I think if our listeners are interested in finding out more about that, please do visit our website, British Dyslexia Association. There will be links there to the IC website, which is a kind of mini website within our umbrella website. and the parent session will be advertised there when the time comes. As you say, Julia, it's a new aspect really to our work, and something obviously at BDA that's incredibly important to us. So we round off this broadcast, and it just leaves me to say a big thank you to both of you, Professor Gathercole and Professor Carroll. I think it's going to be a fantastic conference. If for our listeners at this broadcast, if you're interested in finding out more, as I say, please do go to our website or message us at the team, the conference team, and you'll see that the email address is there and also phone number. We hope to have more of these broadcasts in the future. So a big thank you to you both. And we'll just suffice to say we hope to see everybody in April in Telford for what sounds like it's going to be an amazing event.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you.